Seoul, South Korea. The Grand Hyatt Hotel lobby bar. 10:47 p.m. The kind of bar that understands silence. The kind of bar that has seen everything and volunteered nothing. The kind of place where very powerful people sit very still and let lesser men come to them. She was not a lesser man. Sienna Delacroix had been in Seoul for exactly 11 hours. She had cleared customs, checked into her room, changed her clothes, and come down to wait for a client dinner that was running 40 minutes late. She did not mind waiting. Waiting, in Sienna's experience, was when you learn the most. 20 years of reading organizations had taught Sienna Delacroix one irreducible truth. Every room has a center of gravity. Not always the loudest person. Not always the most visible. Sometimes the center of gravity was simply the person everyone else in the room was pretending not to look at. Tonight, that person was seated at the corner table across the room. Two men, dark suits. The kind of stillness that is not relaxation but discipline. The kind of quiet that does not come from having nothing to say. She noticed them the way she noticed everything, filed them, returned her attention to the door, where her client dinner was still apparently somewhere between here and being late. She did not notice the waiter. Not immediately. And then she did. It was his hands she noticed first. Not his face, his hands. 20 years of watching people under pressure had given Sienna an almost clinical sensitivity to the particular tremor of someone performing a task they did not choose. His hands moved quickly, too quickly. Vial appeared and disappeared in less than 3 seconds. But Sienna Delacroix had been watching. She did not know whose table it was. She did not need to. What she knew was this. A man was about to drink something that had been poured for him by someone who was afraid of the person who gave the order. That was enough. She rose slowly. In New Orleans, Sienna's father Marcus had taught her many things. He had taught her that the city was beautiful. He had taught her that beautiful things required protection. He had taught her on the banks of the Mississippi when she was 17 years old that protection was not about fear. It was about preparation. He had also taught her that if you ever needed to draw a weapon in a public space, you did it the same way you did everything else that mattered. Slowly, calmly, without drama.
The gun had been a gift, not a warning, not a lesson, a gift. Her father's family had beaded the grip themselves, working the Delacroix pattern into the edges the way they worked every suit.
With patience, with ceremony, with the understanding that beauty and protection were not opposites. Her grandfather's family had added the crest. Sienna had not asked them to. She had not known until it arrived. She had not asked what it meant. She understood. She crossed the room in the time it took the waiter to lift his tray. She positioned herself behind him, close enough that her voice, when she spoke, would reach only him. She pressed the barrel to the center of his back. Light, certain, unmistakable. Stop. Put the tray down, please. The waiter stopped. The tray lowered. The whiskey glass came to rest on the nearest surface. Without raising her voice, she had never needed to raise her voice, Sienna spoke to the bartender across the space between them. Excuse me. Please don't let anyone touch that glass. I believe the drink may have been tampered with. The bartender looked at her. He nodded once. He reached beneath the bar for his radio. He was not a hotel employee. His name was Park Jun-ho. He had worked for Declan Calloway's network for 6 years. He had never met Sienna Delacroix in his life and would protect her without hesitation for the rest of his. Sienna did not know any of this. Hotel security appeared at the bar entrance. "Turn around, please." Slowly. The waiter turned. Across the room, Yoon Jae-Won went very still. He had seen a fraction of a second, a fragment of a person, a jaw, a shoulder, a spine, and letters he could not read running the full length of a back he would not forget. Sung-hyun was already on his feet. But Sienna Delacroix had been moving since the moment the waiter turned. She handed him off to the waiting security officers with the courtesy of someone completing a transaction. Her hand moved through the slit in her dress. The gun returned to its holster in one clean motion. She straightened. And then she was gone. The woman, where did she go? The bartender looked up from his radio with the calm of someone who had nothing to hide. "I'm sorry. I didn't see which way she went. She asked me not to let anyone touch the glass. She said she thought it was poisoned." Yoon Jae-Won stood at the window of his suite on the 32nd floor and looked at Seoul the way a man looks at something he built with his own hands. No one had ever saved his life before. He replayed it, the waiter stopping, the glass going down on the wrong table. The stillness of a man who has just been made to understand his situation very clearly by someone he did not see coming. And then, the fragment. A jaw, a shoulder, a spine with letters he could not read but could not stop seeing. Sung-hyun had given him the report. The woman had spoken to the bartender. She had told him the drink was poisoned. She had handed the waiter off to security with the efficiency of someone who had handled situations before. And then she had walked out of the frame of every security camera in the building. Every one. Find her. Sung-hyun found nothing. In 38 years, Yoon Jae-Won had never failed to locate a person he was looking for. This woman had walked through one of the most surveilled hotels in Seoul and left no more trace than smoke. She had saved his life. She had asked for nothing. She had not waited to be thanked. Say, she had not even looked at him directly. In his world, a blood debt was not a figure of speech. It was not sentiment. It was contract. Older than law, heavier than money, binding in the way that only the things that truly matter are binding. Someone had saved his life. He owed her. He would find her. He told himself that was the only reason he was still thinking about her. 3 time zones away, in a stone house on the Clare coast that had been in the Calloway family for 4 generations, Declan Calloway received the alert at 2:47 a.m. He read it twice. He set his phone down. He picked it up again. Sienna's detail had performed exactly as designed. The bartender had held. The security footage window had held. Sienna Delacroix was back in her hotel room, unaware that anything had happened beyond a situation she had handled herself. The second alert was the one that made him sit back. Yoon Jae-Won had assigned his second-in-command to find the woman from the bar. The Yoon network was active. They were looking for Sienna. Declan's network closed around Sienna's identity like water closing over a stone. Nothing extraordinary. Nothing memorable. Nothing that would give a man looking for a ghost anything to hold. Declan set his phone down. He did not call Seamus. Not tonight. Sienna Delacroix finished her incident report at midnight. Not a formal report. She had no obligation to file one. Just her own record, the way she kept records of everything, what she had observed, what she had done, and what remained unknown. She did not write about the man at the corner table. She had not seen his face. She did not know his name. She knew only that someone had wanted him dead over a glass of whiskey, and that she had been in a position to prevent it, and that preventing it had seemed, as it always did, like the only reasonable choice available to her. She thought about her father. Marcus Delacroix had taught her that protection was not about fear. It was about preparation. It was about showing up to moments with the tools and the training to meet them, and then meeting them, and then moving on. She had met the moment. She was moving on. She did not know that 3 floors above where the whiskey glass had been set down on the wrong table, a man was sitting with her ghost and trying to understand what it meant to owe something to someone he could not find. She did not know that in a stone house in Ireland, her cousin was making sure the walls held. She did not know, and would not know for a long time, how many people had spent how many years making sure she did not need to know. She was Sienna Delacroix. She had built herself from nothing. Or so she believed. Thank you for watching Whiskey and War on Dark Magnolia Stories. New episodes drop every Tuesday and Friday, and I promise you, when Jae-Won sends those flowers and she sends them back, you are not going to see that coming. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Leave a comment. I want to know what you thought when you saw the tattoo for the first time. And I will see you next time.